all about Mavis. All of our decisions are considered in the context of what's in her best interest. The thought of her being told that she needs to hide or be ashamed of her family, just couldn't stomach it. We need equality across the board. We need to not be treated like second-class citizens. These kids that are growing up gay need to not be bullied. But for us, the marriage equality was the big one because we wanted to protect our family and wanted Mavis to be proud of her family.
My name's Laura Blackley.
I'm Cindy Jordan.
We are sitting on Jordan Blackley Farm. It is 6 acres nestled in the Hominy Valley community of Candler, North Carolina, 16 miles southwest of Asheville. We're at the base of Mount Pisgah.
Oh, you're heavy.
Laura and I got together in '01. I guess around '06 is when we started talking about having a baby. She was born in November of '08. Having Mavis, or even when we were pregnant with Mavis, it really made me more acutely aware of the inequalities. I mean, of course, Laura and I both know about inequality. We grew up gay in the South, but to bring a child into it, we started to look at, well, wait a minute, if the state and the federal government doesn't recognize us as a couple, then they don't recognize us as parents. You know, what if something happened to me? The state doesn't recognize that Laura's the mom, even though Mavis very much knows that Laura's her mom. So we wanted to get any legal protection we possibly could. So to have a marriage license from somewhere is better than nothing. So we made the trip to California, and we have a marriage license on file.
Do not get in the garden.
Amendment 1 says that a marriage between a man and a woman is the only legal union that shall be recognized in this state, domestic legal union.
So we kind of prepared to lose, but then for me anyway, when it actually happened, I was devastated. Like, I wasn't expecting it, but I cried. I was so sad and hurt. We work really hard to protect our family and to pay our taxes and do right by our community. And you know, I've been a counselor for 12 years, and I've worked to strengthen families of all kinds, and so it felt like a real slap. It's not political, it's personal.
Having the majority vote on the rights of a minority, a good friend of mine said it best, is like 4 wolves and 1 sheep voting on what to have for dinner.
Oh yeah, these are good. As far as acceptance in the South anyway, morality gets brought in. I mean, we were both raised as Christians, and I still have a Christian faith, but I don't know what people assume when they think of a same-sex partnership. But we discuss how we're going to parent our child, talk about what's going to be the best school for her. It's what my straight married friends are doing, really.
I refuse to hide at this point in time. And the thing about discrimination in the South is people don't do it to your face. They'll get in that voting booth and they'll vote however they're going to vote, but they're not going to say anything to your face. I think Obama's coming out in favor of gay marriage was wonderful. It may cost him votes in this state. I would like to say that regardless of the outcome in North Carolina, any sort of change that's going to happen has to come from the top down.
That's true.
We're really not going to win hearts and minds in order to affect social change in the South. People are going to have to be led to the trough and forced to drink. And I understand that now fully.
It's a civil rights issue. It's the social justice piece that led me to be a Democrat. So I would really like to see it charge the Democrats and say, yeah, we do stand for this, and we're going to fight for equality.
But as long as you don't ask for anything, then you don't ruffle anyone's feathers. And there's a lot of ruffled feathers in the South right now.
I'm joined now by Adam Nagourney, who has a story tonight on this subject. Adam, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us about your piece.
We took a look at the sort of extent to which gay issues and gay sort of speakers have become prominent at this convention. And the idea of it is that over the past 20 years, gay either issues or delegates or just sort of attendees have sort of been on the outskirts of conventions, sort of clamoring for attention and recognition from Democratic and Republican conventions. And I think when you talk to people here, there's sort of an unprecedented sort of participation of gay people on stage, delegates, but also if you're listening to these speeches, in every single speech there's reference to gay marriage, to gays in the military, and that really did not happen this way 4 years ago. It's a real change, we think.
It's interesting you say it, because in Tampa last week, we'll remember, we had here on the show a lesbian Republican who was actually in the process of getting married, talking about the platform, which said marriage is between a man and a woman of her own party. Explaining that. And gays were, like you said, sprinkled throughout that convention, perhaps surprisingly so to people, but the Democrats were just like that until this convention too.
They weren't. I wouldn't say they were quite like that. There was always some recognition of them. There was always, since 1992, there was usually some gay speaker on the convention. But I think
a token? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, it would depend on the year. But I think it's less a token that they were not. They tended to be they weren't in prime time for the most part. They tended to avoid certain issues. So it wasn't quite like this. I think what's changed is over the past 2 years, as we know, President Obama has really sort of embraced gay marriage. Don't ask, don't tell. He's asked the Attorney General not to defend Defense of Marriage Act in the courts. And that, you talk to gay activists here, and they're like, this is pretty much everything we want. And there's almost a sense of celebration here. So it's very interesting. It's a big change. I don't think this would have happened 2 years ago or 4 years ago. It's really huge.
At home, you may be hearing some of the cheers in the back behind us. We're looking now at one of the videos that's getting this crowd psyched up for what comes after.
I thought it was for us.
It's for you. It's for you, really, Adam. Looking at this issue, and you were right about that evolution that Barack Obama has made. I know you can't answer this question, really, but is that more personal or more political?
No, I think that's a really good question. I'm not going to, as he would say, peer into his soul. I've always believed in giving politicians the benefit of the doubt. I could understand why a lot of people are uncomfortable with gay marriage. I sort of get that. My sense all along is that it's never been a big issue to him. He doesn't care that strongly about it one way or another. I think he was pragmatic enough to realize that in 2004 it was a real problematic issue. I think it'd be hard to win an election, and I think he sort of reached a sort of point where, a combination of what he believes, and also he's decided it's either no political damage at all or more help than hurt. So,
will this cost him votes? Will it cost him a state like North Carolina? A state like Missouri? Colorado, Nevada?
It might cost him a state like North Carolina. My guess is that that it will gain him votes, or at least be equal.
Why?
Because, well, look at this convention, right? There's a lot of energy here, and one of the sort of problems that they were worried about was they weren't able to get the Democratic base sort of enthused, A, and B, there's been an influx of money from gay donors since this happened. So my guess is, and I think Republicans will tell you this too, net, it's either positive or flat, but I think it's probably a little bit positive. I'm one of those people who think that by 2016, there will be no Democratic presidential candidate running for president who does not endorse gay marriage. I don't think it'll be a tenable position. And my guess is by 2020, when you're 30, it'll be the same thing with the Republican Party as well. And the world is changing.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you.